Hey guys, it's Danny, and today I am sharing our gluten-free pear and cinnamon snack cake. Now, with the holidays rolling in, I have found one of the best strategies to keeping things clean and delicious is to make a dish of your own at home and then bring it along wherever you're going. This way you'll know that there is at least one dish that is aligned with your personal health goals. So let me show you what we're gonna be using. You're gonna need 2 pears chopped up, just like that. Then 1 orange, I'm going to be using the zest and the juice, 1 cup of unsalted roasted almond butter, 1/4 cup of honey, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, a big old tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 freshly grated teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Now, to get started, I'm going to be getting a handful of these ingredients into the food processor to create the base of the batter. So the first thing that's going in, I have that 1 pear that's already chopped up, along with 1 cup, let me grab my spatula, of almond butter. Now you want to look for almond butter that is unsalted and roasted. The roasted nuts are going to add a depth of flavor, and it does not matter if it's creamy or crunchy, okay? Either one will do. Then I'm going to be putting in the zest from 1 orange. Now I zested a little bit to give it a head start, but I also wanted to show you guys how to do this. So see this white part? That's the pith. Underneath is the actual orange. That's where you get the juice. And the bright orange color on the outside, this is the zest, and that's where all of the oils are, right? So that's where you get that really strong, bright orange flavor. So when you combine the juice and the zest together, you're gonna get an orange flavor that really, really pops. And it's also what gives this cake a very holiday flair. Something about a little fresh orange that just brings you right into the holidays. Then we'll just cut this orange in half so we can get the juice out of it. Now I'm just looking for about 2 tablespoons of juice, so my guess is that's just gonna be half of the orange, but it'll depend on how juicy your orange is. That's about 1, and that's about 2. Okay, then I'm gonna pop on the lid and pulse this a few times so it starts to come together and create a batter. If it's getting stuck, just open it up and push everything back down to the blades. Now, a good side note here, guys, is make sure your pear is nice and ripe, nice and juicy, because that's gonna help it to break down in the food processor. I'm noticing that my pear was a little bit on the firm side. I'm still gonna make it work, but if you can, ripe is best. So you can see now it's like a very thick paste almost right now, and because my pear was pretty firm, there's still chunks in there, but that's going to break up as we keep on going. So next thing I want to add in here are 2 eggs. I'm going to crack them right into the food processor. If you really wanted to be careful not to get shells in there, you would crack your eggs on the side and then pour it into your food processor. That's a great little trick if you have kids helping you in the kitchen. Let them crack the eggs on the side. This way if they make a little shell mess, you can pull them out and it's not a problem. Then I have 1/4 cup of the honey going in. This cake is free of all refined sugars and refined flours. Basically, the almond butter is creating the base, and then the sweetener is the honey. I'm gonna add in my vanilla extract, that heaping tablespoon of cinnamon, the nutmeg, and our kosher salt. I'm gonna pop the lid back on, let this blend again. And you're gonna see, this is when it starts to come together into more of the batter. Okay, so let's take a look at the batter here. It kind of looks like a thick, it's almost like a thick almond butter, but this actually is the batter for the cake. It's pretty amazing how you can create a batter with no flour and no refined sugars. Now guys, on another note, if you're working with a mini food processor like I have here, a lot of them are 3 cups. They hold 3 cups. The one I'm using holds 4 cups. So I just want to point that out because if you've got a 3-cupper, it's not going to hold all the batter. It has to be at least 4 cups for the batter to fit, okay? So what I want to do is transfer my batter into an 8 by 8 baking dish. I'm using a ceramic dish. You could also do a glass dish. And I'm just going to spray it down with a little bit of coconut oil. You could also rub it with coconut oil or even use a little butter if you had it on hand. Then we'll transfer the batter. Just gonna scrape off every last bit of batter. And I have to tell you guys, what's coming up from this pan right now is that orange zest. It's just rising right up into my nose. It smells delicious. Okay, so this is our batter. And the final step that I'm gonna do is sprinkle some fresh pears into the batter. So I said we're gonna need 2 chopped pears. Let me show you how I like to chop up my pear. So with a pear, you don't need to core it, so you don't go out and take the core out. But what I like to do is cut around the core. So I basically cut off what I call the cheeks of the pear into boards. So 1 and 2, and don't worry if you get a little pit because we're gonna cut around that. Same thing on the opposite side, 1 and 2. And then I go back down the sides and just cut the sides off. And then to cut these into small pieces, you just go one direction. You're gonna cut them into strips, rotate it around, and then come back the other way. And because I'm gonna be adding these little chunks of pear into the batter, first of all, it gives it a really great texture. But second of all, when I was saying earlier about my pear not being super ripe, it's totally fine if your pear is a little bit chunky in the batter because once it cooks up, they soften and they give the whole cake a really nice texture. So the bottom line here is use what you've got. Once you have got all of the pears chopped up, I'm just gonna sprinkle them over the top of the cake, and then I'm gonna use my spatula to gently push them down into the batter so that when they cook, they sink in a little bit. They're gonna get a little bit soft and they're gonna add a great texture. And pears are in season right now. They are a great seasonal fruit and they are beautiful on just about any holiday table. Okay, so this whole thing is gonna go into a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes and then we'll check it out. Now, when I serve this cake, I like to top it with either a little bit of fresh whipped cream or this spiced yogurt topping I like to make. A little tip, guys, add fresh orange zest to just about anything, pancakes, muffins, smoothies, protein shakes, yogurt, and you will instantly create a magical holiday taste. So I have in my bowl 1 container, it's like a 5-ounce container of plain Greek yogurt. You can use 2% or the full fat. And to that, I'm going to add in just a teaspoon of honey. That's going to sweeten it up a little bit. And another teaspoon of fresh orange zest. And guys, when you're zesting your own fruits, make sure you remember to wash the skin of the fruit first. Because a lot of times we don't think to wash a lemon or an orange when we eat it. But when we're zesting it, that's exactly the part we're eating. So just remember to give it a good rinse under some cold water. So bring all of those ingredients together in my bowl. And this creates a very creamy, sweet, bright, orange yogurt topping that is insanely delicious on top of this cake. So you can make this ahead of time like we did here. And then what I'll do is I'll just pop a lid on it and store this in the fridge. Now this makes a delicious addition to any holiday brunch table, and it's also great as an after dinner dessert. Okay guys, so what you're gonna notice is this cake is done when you'll see that the edges start to slightly pull away from the side of the pan. And then the middle is like a little bit springy. It's set through. So I'm just gonna give this about 25-30 minutes to cool down a bit, then we'll cut into it and check it out. So once you cut into it, guys, you're gonna see that it's totally set up through the middle. It never fails to amaze me that almond butter and eggs can create a batter that actually turns into a cake like this. So it's nice and set. The pears have become nice and tender. And then I'm just gonna top it with that yogurt cream. Now look at that, guys. Is that beautiful or what? And the smell is insane. I absolutely love the texture of the pear throughout the cake. It gives it a little more body. And the way it sets up, it's very light, but it's still hearty. And the orange zest comes through. It literally tastes like a holiday on a plate. You guys have got to give this one a try. And when you do, tag me on Instagram and Facebook. Take some pictures of the creations you've made in your very own kitchens so I can see it as well. If you guys want to print this recipe, cleananddelicious.com. All the deets will be down in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Danny Spies. I'll see you back here next time with some more clean and deliciousness. Cheers! 350-degree oven for 30 minutes, and then we'll check it out. Got a pan in the oven.